This is what I hear. Mark my words. The way you see yourself today and the way you see yourself sometime from now, you're going to look at yourself and you're going to realize, back then, I didn't know who I was. I thought I was somebody. Thought. But now I'm realizing that what I thought was not me. That was not me all along. I just didn't know it because I thought I was this or that. And that allows you to detach from your old limiting self. Hello, beautiful soul. Before we move on with the messages, I wanted to share something exciting with you. I am blowing away all my 2023 predictions for each zodiac sign at a crazy, incredible 75% off. So if you are wondering what's happening for the rest of the year, if you just want to check in what's going on, if you're curious what your lessons are, if you're curious what you are letting go of karmically, if you are curious as to what it is that you still need to address in order to expand into your higher consciousness, click on the link below. You'll be taken to a site where you will take advantage of this incredible offer. I've never done this before. If you purchase the bundle, you will get each sign at approximately $1.25 per sign. The bundle is 14 hours of incredibly deep, powerful content. So if you are not in a position to purchase them before, I think this is going to be an opportunity for pretty much everyone to be able to afford it. I just feel extra generous and I want you all to have this information. And we're more than halfway through the year, and that's actually a really good point to check in and see what's coming up for you. So 75% off on all my 2023 predictions. I hope you enjoy them. Let me know how you feel about them. I've already got a lot of information from people who purchased them at the beginning of the year, and all of the feedback has been that these messages are quite incredible and quite powerful. So enjoy. And let's move on with the messages. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for giving us your time. My hope is, and my greatest desire is to share with you information that will help you release some of the attachments to your own pain and your own suffering as you continue to live out your life in this 3D world. And this information comes through what I consider higher sources or higher consciousness, which means that this higher consciousness has a greater view of who we are, which is of great benefit, because when we have a greater view, we can see so many things that we were not able to see before. So my hope and my desire is that this information offers you ability to see something more about yourself, something more about the world you live in, and consequently make better choices or wiser choices for yourself and for all that is involved, for all humanity, because we are all part of the one. So if you are here for the first time, thank you so much for being here. If you would like to click the subscribe button or the notification button, it will tell you when I upload new material. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be messages for September. I decided I wanted to give you information to see what may be upcoming for you in the month of September, but a little bit of October is included, so keep in mind it could be whatever you receive from here could present itself to you in September, but also in a month, a little bit in the month of October. Let's start with first understanding what is our purpose here as far as humanity is concerned. Well, we are here on planet Earth, simply put, to evolve. What does it mean to evolve? To move on from what was in in a higher consciousness. That's how it's being presented to me. And you and I are part of greater consciousness. We are all part of one. We don't necessarily think about it that way, or we don't necessarily think about ourselves that way, but we are one of consciousness itself. We are part of the one consciousness itself. There is nothing beyond consciousness. Consciousness is all there is. And in some people call it God. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a giraffe for all we care. Doesn't matter. Point is, we are all part of oneness, and therefore we individually and collectively, whether we know it or not, contribute to this oneness. And what and how we contribute to this oneness is up to us, because we have this thing called free will. So if we are experiencing, for example, a lot of turmoil or suffering, then we are expressing that turmoil in our own suffering, and we are contributing in that way to the consciousness itself. Now, at the highest level, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is, simply put, an experience. But it's let's say, a lower vibrating experience than, for example, expressing ourselves purely coming from the space of love and the heart, where there is a lot less judgment and a lot less suffering, and therefore a lot less pain. So equally so, when we live from the heart, we contribute that energy and that frequency to the collective. And humanity-wise, we are all in the process of moving from suffering to living more in the heart. And suffering is autonomous with pain. No one chooses to experience pain on a conscious level. No one really says, let me have some pain, although some pain is difficult. We often choose to go through it. Like, for example, when you go to a massage and the therapist works on your body and it's very painful, but you understand that in order for the pain to be released, sometimes there has to be pressure put on the very space where you feel pain. So oftentimes we will experience greater level of pain before the actual pain can be released. And this is what humanity is going through right now. We are in a process of seemingly experiencing more pressure, more pain, more suffering. Look at all the things that are happening in the world. It doesn't take Einstein to figure out that there is something going on. Again, it's not necessarily something wrong that's going on, although intellectually speaking, yes, we can use that analogy that there is something wrong. But again, from the highest perspective, from the highest consciousness, from the higher consciousness point of view, this too is an experience. But humanity is choosing, at least on an unconscious level, to experience a lighter experience. Less pain and less suffering. But in order to experience less pain and less suffering, we have to let go of our pain and our suffering. And our pain and suffering is rooted in our ego. And we humans have an egoic structure. Ego is a whole bunch of ideas put together that we identify as an individual I. But you and I are part of the greater whole. We're all connected. So even though we are experiencing individuality, we are also experiencing oneness on some level. We may not necessarily see it. We certainly may not feel it. But our individual actions and behaviors and experiences collectively create our experience as a whole. So when we are individually hanging on to our own pain and suffering, like karma, for example, we individually contribute to the collective. And if majority of humans live from the space of fear, pain, and suffering, then we are consequently contributing to humanity's consciousness as a whole. To put it in a different way, in order for humanity's consciousness to elevate or to shift to higher frequency, we collectively and individually have to release our pain and our suffering that is attached not to the soul, but to the ego. And ego is a wonderful experience. Without your ego, you wouldn't experience your own individual I, which is what you are here to do as being part of planet Earth, or as having an experience on planet Earth. But back to what humanity is going through right now, or what September holds for us, if I can use that analogy. We are, collectively speaking, magnifying or looking at things we haven't looked at before. And we look at these things very closely in order to identify what is really wrong with whatever it is we're looking at. In other words, we are digging deeper into places that we haven't digged into before. We are looking in the corners of our darkness. And each of us carries the light and the dark within him or her. There's no point in denying that. The reality is we live in both. We live in this space that is one of duality. In order to experience the rain, you have to first experience what rain is not. Okay? We don't blame or ostracize the rain for being rain. Rain has a purpose. We don't ostracize dryness for being dry, because that too has a purpose. If there was only dryness, if there was only dry, nothing would survive, because we need water. We need rain. On the other hand, if there was only rain and only water, then everything would rot and flood. In other words, there has to be a combination of both in order for everything to thrive. And our responsibility as far as humanity goes is to understand the reasons behind our actions and our reactions, or what we do or don't do. If we are in a fight with somebody, and we may be flooded with anger and resentment, we may very well be fighting with somebody, but oftentimes that will not help resolve the reason behind the fight, or what is the reason, the real reason for the fight. Because here's the thing, the moment you understand the reason for the fight, you can deal with the reason, shift that reason into something else, so there is no fighting required. And every single person has to do that for him and herself. In other words, if you are fighting with somebody, then merely by being part of the fight, you must be getting some benefit from it. Otherwise, why would you fight? The question then becomes, what benefit do we get from fighting, as an example? And if we are not benefiting from the fight, or if the fight is negatively impacting us, then why are we fighting? So our purpose as humanity is to understand that. What lies beyond or beneath the actions we take or don't take? In other words, what drives our behavior? If fear drives our behavior, then we will constantly live in fear. On the other hand, if love drives our experiences and our behaviors, then we will effectively experience more love in the world. The question is, which do we choose? Now, of course, the average human being would say, I want to experience more love. But in order to experience more love, we have to come from more peace. If we are fighting with one another, or if we are fighting with ourselves for that matter, and most importantly, then we are not coming from our own inner peace. So, to sum it up, in order to experience greater love in this human body, we need to understand why there is no inner peace. Why are we not experiencing more inner peace? And if we are not experiencing more inner peace, which is who we are in essence, peace and love, then that means that there is something standing in the way of us not being able to experience more peace. So let's look at what that is. Let's identify it. Let's look at it and see what it represents. Let's see it for what it is, likely fear-based. So if you are watching this, you are likely transitioning from what many people call 3D to 5D. In my own Joanna language, it simply means we are moving more from purely ego-based life or experience as an individual to more of a unified field where we are expressing ourselves and experiencing life from more of a unified space, higher consciousness. When we focus on survival, for example, we focus mainly on the 3 lower chakras, which I'm not going to go into in this video, but 3 lower chakras are connected to our humanness, our physical human body. So if we live in fear, a lot of the times we will function primarily from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd chakra. The moment we move into the 4th chakra, which is the heart, the ego takes a back seat and the heart begins to lead. When we live out of fear, it is very unlikely that we will lead with our heart. Why? Because we are locked onto survival. Okay? We are not focusing on expressing love. We are focusing on surviving. Okay? And survival is an essential state for us to be living in a physical body. If we didn't take care of our survival needs, then we wouldn't have a physical body because, well, we wouldn't survive. So it is, of course, essential that we pay attention to our survival needs. However, when our survival needs take over our entire lives, then what we are experiencing is life rooted in fear of survival. And humanity is shifting from that space right now. Or that's the trajectory. That's the plan. And if you are watching this, then you are part of this plan. Your job here on earth is to experience greater consciousness. How to embody higher consciousness and how to live that out in the physical 3D world. When you live from a higher consciousness, your body doesn't disappear. You still have a body, but it's a lighter body. The frequency of your body becomes lighter, less dense. So you will feel very differently. It's a different quality of life. It's no longer living out of survival. It's moving past the idea of just survival. So in order to thrive, we have to survive. But if we are focusing solely on survival, we can't really thrive because we can't relax long enough to thrive. We're tensed, we're scared. We're preoccupied with whatever fears are going on in and outside of our bodies. So likely, in the next little while, you and I will be facing some of our fears. I feel as humanity, we have been doing that for a while now, certainly the last at least 2.5 years. When you think about it, the pandemic brought our fears right in our face. And some people chose that as an opportunity to move through it and come out on the other side as a lighter human being, and some chose to deny it. When you deny something that has a hold on you, you are giving it more power. They're asking me to repeat. When you deny an aspect of you that has a hold on you, like fear, then you give it power. As odd as it seems. In other words, by not facing your fear, you essentially give it more power. My human brain is trying to run after that one, but I'm just gonna let it go and not let my human brain interfere. If you are watching this, I guarantee you one thing. And that is that what you want is peace within yourself. That's what you want. If you want greater love, it's because of the peace that it brings with it. Peace and love are one and the same. We talked about it in a different video. So if you are seeking greater peace, greater love, and you come from that space, in other words, it's in you, but you are still seeking it, then that means you haven't found it yet. And if you are seeking it and that means you haven't found it yet, then that means maybe you're looking for it in the wrong places, or maybe you don't know how to look for it, or maybe you don't know how to find it. Well, here's the thing. It's nowhere outside of you. It's always permanently within you. Whatever it is that you seek is already within you, and that's permanent. Everything else in your 3D life is fleeting. Peace and love goes beyond our existential human condition, and it is permanently etched into your soul. And you are a soul. You have a body, but you're a soul. And on a soul level, you know all this already. This is not new to you. This is just one of those rides you chose to partake in called Planet Earth because you wanted to have a certain experience. And you may not have a recollection of that, but that's essentially what it is. In other words, you come fully equipped with the very thing you are seeking for, greater love and peace. I mean, we've heard this before a million times. So if peace and love is within us, why are we not experiencing peace? What's wrong with this picture? Does it make any sense? Perhaps it's because we are not focusing on that love and peace. Perhaps because we are focusing on the outside, where chaos is. Now remember, chaos is the result of the collective consciousness. Chaos doesn't just happen. I mean, yes, we have weather conditions that create certain chaos, but from a higher perspective, chaos is absolutely necessary in order for there to be creation. When a fire goes through a forest, it creates a new foundation for some new growth. Now, of course, if a fire goes through a village, it's very hard to see and say, oh, that's just creating new growth. That's because our humanness doesn't see it that way, especially if there is sorrow and pain or death. And we are experiencing a lot of fires these days, and we can also look at it as a metaphor for metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? It's transformation. So something is being transformed. We may not know exactly what that is yet. We may not have a logical or rational explanation or understanding. But behind these fires, there is tremendous opportunities for epic growth. Epic growth. We just don't see it yet in terms of what that's supposed to look like. But here's the thing, it's not so much what it's supposed to look like, it's what we choose to create. Our experiences are going to look like whatever they look like based on what we are creating. And each individual has a responsibility in that. Each individual plays a part in that. So you and I, as part of the collective, contribute to humanity's consciousness and therefore to our overall collective experiences. If I choose to let go of my pain and suffering and I somehow manage to live from within my heart, my energy will reflect that out into the world. And if every single person does that, magically the entire consciousness of the world will change. It's like magic, but it's not magic. It makes perfect sense. So it only makes sense that we focus on ourselves right now. It does not mean we don't help one another. It doesn't help we don't support one another. Of course we do. But we can no longer neglect our own responsibility when it comes to inner work. And inner work is what is required right now. I mean, I believe inner work is important at any point, but especially now as humanity is going through this massive shift, inner work is really magnified, okay? Fears around prosperity or not having prosperity, fears around money, issues around sexuality, All of these things and more are likely to come up for you right now. Inadequacies, a lot of sacral chakra stuff. Now, sacral chakra is also the feminine center. It is the womb, shall we say, where creation takes place. So if our sacral chakra is loaded with a lot of heavy energy, it will suppress our ability to create. Okay. So we seem to be clearing, or there seems to be focus placed on sacral chakra stuff. And I'm hearing not feeling enough is one of them. Apparently when we don't feel like we are enough, it has its roots in sacral chakra. Okay. And the not enoughness is going to keep us stuck in the consciousness of poverty and lack. And that's where we will create from, the consciousness of poverty and lack. Now, of course, as you know, whatever consciousness you create from, you basically recreate the same consciousness, just in a different experience. So if we are vibrating in the energy of lack, guilt, shame, then we are perpetuating those experiences because we are vibing in that energy. And whatever energy we vibe in, we create from that space. Okay? So in order to create from the space of love, as an example, we have to let go of the attachments we have to our identity, to our identities that we deem as lackful or not enough. How could you possibly be not enough? You are part of all that is. You are part of consciousness. I just heard God did not shortchange you when he created you or she created you. There's no he or she, it's both. You didn't come ill-equipped. You come fully equipped with everything you need in order to live a prosperous, healthy life. But because of your own identity attachments to lack and non-prosperity, your experience will reflect that, and collectively our experience will reflect that. So if we want humanity to change, if we want the world to change, it only makes sense that we make the change within ourselves. Otherwise, how can change happen? Change can only happen when we reflect that change from within. So something within has to change in order for the outside to change. We are the product of our change. We are the ones that create change, or will create change, or can create change. We are the ones. Change doesn't just happen on its own. We create change. But we first have to create these changes from within ourselves. And when I say changes, I mean shifts, inner shifts. And these represent how we think, what we believe, what we are attached to, what sort of fears we are attached to, which make us feel small and afraid. And that's not a great space to create from, because, well, the experience will be reflected by the energy that we are vibing in. I mean, you guys get the picture. You know all this. You know all this already. I hear alarm bells going on in a month of September, and I want to say half of October, or whenever you listen to this. And when I ask the question, what is the bell for? And I hear it's time. It's time for more education. We're all here to learn about ourselves from our actions, from our behaviors, to understand ourselves. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we can open up to the greatness of who we really are. You and I and everyone and everything is part of greatness. Do you remember that? You are greatness in a human body. And notice when you hear the words, you are greatness in a human body, does your body reject that notion, or does it feel right? Are you afraid of being that greatness? Are you afraid you don't have what it takes to be that greatness? And be afraid all you want. You already are greatness, despite of what you think or believe. So if you believe that you are less than, then you will experience based on those assumptions. On the other hand, when you begin to realize, or should I say, when you begin to remember that you are greatness, you are part of the one, you take a different responsibility for yourself and for your life, because you realize that anything is possible and that you are equipped with everything possible to make anything happen, because greatness lacks no thing. You, in your own unique vibration essence, lack no thing. You just don't have that awareness. You may not have that memory, but you lack no thing. There's nothing lacking within you. It doesn't exist. The lack thing is a human idea. It's an idea. It's a concept. It's an experience, yes, but it's a concept. It isn't even real. It's only real because we believe it's real. And I know that's very difficult for the human brain to grasp. Well, of course it's real. Look at my suffering. Well, that's perhaps you don't see what's beyond the suffering. If you are in experience of something, then there must be value to it. There is value to every experience. Perhaps you're not seeing the value of it yet. And because you're not seeing the value of it yet, you cannot shift your perspective about it. And the moment you shift your perspective about it, your life changes. You change. What you can create changes. Your change of perspective creates change in the world. So the question is, are we ready to shift out of our old limiting identities? That's the question. And that's called ego work, which I must confess, I absolutely love doing. Shadow work. All right. Let's go through 3 piles and let's see what you might be expecting for yourself over the next month of September and a little bit of October. Pile number 1. We have Lemurian era. I will go into it. We have serendipity. And we have sword of light. So I'm going to go into each one and help you. I'll share with you what it means. Lemurian era. This is not going by the book. This is purely intuitive. You are in a space where you are about to give birth, and this is not a physical birth, although it can be, but you're in a space of giving birth to new ideas or new identity, okay? I just heard your own authority is at stake. What does that mean? I just heard keep your crown, don't give it away. So this is all symbology. Crown denotes not superiority, but it denotes a certain level of responsibility and authority. Okay? The message is, do not let go of your authority, or don't give up your authority in favor of somebody else's authority over you. If you have been living under the rules of an authoritarian type consciousness, you are likely to find yourself in a space where you are going to rebel. I don't want to live this way anymore. Your rules, I don't like your rules. They're too limiting for me. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that you go and break the rules in normal society, because that wouldn't serve you very, very well as a human being. That's not what I'm talking about. There's a deeper meaning to this, and each and every one of you will extrapolate whatever that means to you when I talk about authority. Okay? If you have been living in a space of confinement where you have been feeling like you're confined, like you can't move anywhere, like you're stuck, over the next little while, I feel like you are unlocking the door to your freedom. You are finding the right key, which is information, in order to free yourself from your confinement in whatever shape and form it comes to you. Shadow work will be one of them. Okay. Alternatively, you are in a space where new ideas are bubbling within you, but you're not ready to give birth to them yet. And you have to allow for the time to take place for this birth to be given to just at the right moment. So you might find yourself being more in a contemplative space, where you're not sure what you're doing, you have ideas, they come and go, but you're not really doing anything about it. And I feel it's because you are in a gestation period, just like a female would be in a gestation period before she gives physical birth. You actually may be a female who is in a process of giving birth, but you're not giving birth yet. Okay. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm hearing new information is coming to you now, and this information may be coming to you from, I want to say, intergalactic consciousness or sources, or intuitively, or it may be coming from other sources, books, knowledge. But new information is being presented to you. And because of this new information, you will be able to reevaluate your life for the purpose of freeing yourself from certain confinements and starting fresh anew. Okay? This is a big time for you, pile number one. You are approaching an end of a cycle, which means things will be coming to conclusions before new things begin. And I'm seeing the Fool in my mind, and it's just right on my right, so it's in the near future, but it's not in front of me yet. So your new beginning is not in front of you yet, but it's in a very near future. Okay? For some of you, you may have just entered this Fool stage where you're in a brand new energy. And, interesting. You're looking to the collective to tell you what to do. You're looking to the collective to tell you what to do. It's like you're waiting for an answer from some outside source to tell you what to do. Here's what I would suggest. If this is you, I would suggest that you go into your own inner source for the answer to your question of, what am I to do next? Because your heart already knows. Your heart already knows. It's just a matter of clearly connecting with your heart. And that is not easy, as I know very well, because you have to sift through layers and layers and layers of stuff. Perhaps there is some cleanup warranted for pile number 1 in terms of decluttering your heart space, If you are carrying sorrow or burdens in your heart, it would be good for you to look at these and to quote unquote clean it up, transform it. Okay. Serendipity is a beautiful omen because it says that there will be coincidences that you will be experienced very abruptly and very frequently. So you might be hit with certain things out of the blue and it's just exactly what you need and you have no idea where it comes from, and it just comes and comes and comes. It's like this constant serendipity. Obviously, the 4-clover leaf is all about luck, L-U-C-K. You might actually be feeling quite lucky at this time. Like luck is following you. What I heard was believe in luck, L-U-C-K, and luck will follow you. Believe in luck. Believe that you're a lucky person. Okay. For some reason, I want to talk about number 7, even though this is 18. Hang on a second. You are used to drawing a lot of energy from other people. In other words, this speaks to me in terms of independence. You are someone who is used to depending on other people for your own sense of safety and security. I mean, the environment does, of course, but at the end of the day, if we don't experience inner safety and inner security, we're going to be reaching for that from the outside. And that's always a tricky place to be because we cannot control the outside. You cannot control the outside. You can only control what's on the inside to a degree. Okay? So although this is showing luck here, it's also telling me that you are within a very powerful time to face your fears. And that's going to help you clear out your heart space where you can start living from. And of course, as we know, when you live from heart space, life is very different because you're not living from fear. Sword of light, divine protection, quartz cut, breakthrough energy. I'm seeing a lot of orange and yellow, so that's the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. That's the first 3 chakras we talked about at the very beginning. These chakras are primarily connected to human body survival. And the sword to me represents independence. Independence from fear. We are no longer so dependent on the fear-based beliefs. Here's the thing. When we've learned to depend on something, even though it may be limiting, it's very hard to let it go. So you might be pile 1 trying to let go of some codependencies, some attachments, which you've been living with for most of your life. And if you're doing that, that's quite a journey. It's quite a journey, okay? To let go of attachments, especially ones that you have gotten used to, that you've relied upon, is quite a journey. It's a very powerful journey, but it's a journey nonetheless. So my hat's off to you. Independence frequency, no longer being as dependent on the outside for feeling good about yourself, for feeling valued, for feeling and knowing that you are enough. Of course, we all depend on others. We depend also on planet Earth. But this speaks more towards codependence and cutting the cords to attachments that no longer serve us. Powerful work, pile number 1. Powerful, powerful work. Okay, that's what I have for pile number 1. Okay, pile number 2, let's see what we have for you. we have conservative attachments. We just talked about attachments in pile 1. We have why, and we have temple of truth, throat chakra, authenticity, self-expression. Okay, so let me go one by one and see what I get from this. What are you still holding on to that no longer serves you? What are your unhealthy attachments? In particular, I want to talk about the attachments of fear. And we attach to our fear very strongly. When you believe that you can't be an independent, you're not going to experience life of independence. Okay? If you believe that you don't have what it takes to quote unquote make it on your own, whatever that means, then you are likely are not going to pursue it. And if you're not going to pursue it, you're not going to experience it. Okay? I'm not seeing this as the universe saying, hey, quit your job and start your own business, if that doesn't make sense to you. But if it does, and this has been something that has been nagging at you, or should I start my own thing? Should I give up my old job that no longer satisfies me? And should I start something I'm passionate about? If that is the case, that there's a message in it for you, but you first have to let go of your fearful attachments. Okay? Attachments to the fears that you have that perhaps tell you, oh, that's too much responsibility. Oh, I can't handle that. Oh, the universe will never support me. Oh, I'm not going to get paid for what or I'm not going to get paid what I deserve. Any limiting notions like that, those attachments, they're born out of fear. The universe is asking you to cut the cords. And you actually have the card of, oh no, cord cutting was in pile number 1. So you might actually want to look at pile number 1 as well. Okay. There are some attachments for some of you that are connecting to your childhood where you did not feel safe. For some of you, you have developed migraines as a result of not feeling safe. It's a very strange message. I don't know how that works, but that's what's coming to me. So if you are dealing with migraine headaches, I am very blessed. I've never had a migraine headache, but I hear they're awful. Chances are that there is something within you that stems from your childhood that is fear-based, that you are still holding on to, that is, if not creating the migraines there, and it's at least contributing greatly to your migraines. Okay? There's a connection between your migraines, severe headaches, and some unresolved issue around safety in your childhood. Okay? Now, does that mean that every single person who suffers from migraine has that connection? Not necessarily, but if you're listening to this and you have migraine headaches and you have some unresolved challenges from your past, from your childhood, that deal with the issues of not feeling safe, then chances are that there is a connection there. Okay, so I would urge you to look into that. Okay, and this could actually be pile number 2, facing one of your greatest fears, which is, I will not be safe. I will not be safe. That is the fear that I'm tapping into. I will not be safe. So something is happening in your environment as a child that was telling you that you can't be safe. There was no safety in sight. You felt always afraid. There was always something going on. There was chaos in your household. You experienced a lot of chaos and you just wanted to hide to escape that chaos. It almost feels like the headaches have developed as a coping mechanism. perhaps your migraines are your body's coping mechanism to deal with all that chaos that you have experienced when you were young. I have a funny feeling, and I'm not saying this lightly because that's a big statement to make, but I have a feeling that if you do the work and shift your perspective from the perspective of your own childhood experience and shift that energy so that it can move, because it feels like that energy is stuck. The fear is stuck in your body. It's just stuck. That's a lot of pressure. If you think energy is stuck and it can't move, that's pressure. I have a feeling that when you hit it head on and you face it, I have a feeling that a great percentage of you are going to experience tremendous release or even elimination of your migraine headaches. And I don't say that lightly. That's because that's a very big statement for me to make. But that is what this energy is showing me. Okay? I mean, we know that our emotions are responsible for how we feel and what we experience with our physical body. We already know that. Trapped emotion, especially when it's highly charged, will often have a negative impact on the human body in so many different ways. We know that. We know that already. It's trapped energy. Has nowhere to go. It's stuck. Okay? If you have a lot of fear or anger, which is a lot of heat, and that is not released, it's not digested, then that heat is going to get trapped in a certain part of the body, and the physicality of your body will be affected by that. Okay? So oftentimes, in order to see improvement in the physical ailments, we have to release the energy that is underneath whatever the ailment is. And for you, pile number 2, it seems to be headaches. The next card you have is why. This is simply help you understand why things are the way they are in your life. What's your story? What is your conditioning? What is your understanding of yourself and how that understanding is reflected in your everyday life? If you are in a relationship, for example, it's a constant battle, then you are moving into a frequency or into a space where you're trying to understand what is fueling this experience of always experiencing battle. Likely you're in a battle within yourself. There are inconsistencies within you in terms of how you feel about you. I feel good, I feel bad, I feel good. You don't have a solid grasp on or a solid foundation. If you are used to mimicking somebody else, that's the words that are coming to me, then you are essentially taking on somebody's way to live your life. Now, what if somebody's way is not appropriate for you, or is not desired by you, or doesn't feel like it is you? Then that means that you are living not according to your truth. If you live in conflict with yourself, then this is saying for you to understand this conflict. What within you is at conflict? What are you at conflict with within yourself? What aspects of you are you trying to reject? What are you not taking responsibility for in your life? If it's your experience, then you must take responsibility of your part of the experience. If you are experiencing battles within your relationships, then you have to take accountability for your part of that experience, because you're part of it. This is not a blame. This is simply saying your experience, since you are part of it, you contribute to it. So if you are contributing to an experience that you don't like, it behooves you to understand, why are you experiencing that? Why are you quote unquote choosing that experience? What is driving this experience? So that you can understand it better, so that you can have a different experience. So for the month of September, a little bit of October, your question is asked, why do I feel this way? What is causing me to feel this way? Why am I experiencing this? What is underneath this experience? What value does this experience hold within itself, so that I can recognize it? Because the moment I can recognize the value, I can let it go. If you don't see value in your experience, then you're going to likely perpetuate that experience, because you're not quote unquote getting it. Okay? But it's not getting it in terms of you need to learn your lesson. No, it's getting it in terms of deeper understanding. Your soul wants to experience so that it can understand itself, so that it can know itself, so that all the one, God, universe, source, whatever, can know itself through your experience. So your question for the next little while is why? Why do I feel this way? Why do I do the things that I do? Why am I afraid? What belief system makes me believe in me in this way? Why do I believe that I am not enough? Where is that coming from? What truth am I holding on to that doesn't serve me? What is my belief around deserving or undeserving? What do I believe about deserving or undeserving? Do I believe that I deserve more, or do I believe I don't deserve more? Why? Why do I believe that? Where is it coming from? It's coming from some space that somebody has given to you. It's likely not even yours. It's karmic. So by understanding the why, we can break our karma. In other words, we can cease to repeat the same patterns over and over and over and over again, especially if these patterns give us experiences that we don't want. One way to release karma is to understand the why. And as humanity, we are all trying to understand why. What is my purpose? Why am I here? What's going on here? Why am I experiencing this? What's the point? There's always a greater purpose. There's always a greater meaning behind everything that we are experiencing. We just may not be able to see it right away. So you are being asked, pile number 2, to see your life from a bigger perspective, to see the bigger picture. Okay? Temple of Truth, throat chakra, authenticity, self-expression. You see these floodgates opening, and there's a waterfall. There's a greater expression, pile number 2, coming from you over the next little while. You are in a process of learning how to, not only how to express yourself, but most importantly, how to adequately express yourself. How to adequately express yourself. What does that mean? The idea of not being enough is no longer an idea you are choosing to cling on to. Okay? And as a result of giving that idea up, that you are not enough, you let that go. And as a result of that, you just allow yourself to express much more freely, because you're not holding back. Simple as that. Because it speaks about throat expression, chances are that you are learning how to speak up for yourself, how to stand up for yourself. You're in a process of learning how to stand up or speak up for other people, or that's your life's work, if you will, in whatever way. And they're saying you're on a mission to help humanity. But first, before helping humanity, you need to help yourself. You need to help yourself so that you can know how to help another. If you are trying to help someone with their struggles, but you don't understand what the struggle is, then you can't effectively help them. And humans struggle with the same things. Fear, abandonment, not being enough, fearing not being included. We all share the same experiences. They all just come in different packages. We all understand fear. We all understand love. Most understand love. On a fundamental level, we all understand love. We all want love. We gravitate towards love because that's our home. That's where we come from. Perhaps that is what you are learning to express, is the knowledge of you knowing where you come from. You don't come from lack. You come from an infinite space. And perhaps you are realizing that for the very first time, and this realization gives you the proverbial wings. Now, what wings do? Wings help you fly. They help you feel incredible. They help you feel free. They help you experience life from higher, much higher perspectives. It's beautiful. You are pile number 2 in a space of your own unfolding or unfoldment. And it feels exhilarating to me, but also a little bit trepidatious. Can I use that analogy? Because when you first confront your fears, it's usually not a very pleasant experience because we don't like facing our fears. But the alternative is not to face your fears. If we don't face our fears, if we try to ignore and deny it, then as per the original message in the video at the beginning, you give it more power. Okay, so facing your fears, although it is sometimes very challenging, I would know something a little bit about that. This is what I do for a living, and I include that myself personally. When you face your fear and it's uncomfortable, by facing it is how you get your power back. Pile number 2. You're growing your wings. You're getting your power back. And that makes me feel for you freaking amazing. And I feel myself in the center of my heart, and it's just radiating this love. That's what power is. It's love. When we say that you are taking your power back, what we're really saying is you are coming back home to love. And when you start participating with life from a space of love, I guarantee you everything changes. Your entire outlook on you and the rest of the world changes as well. It's a completely different existence. So pile number 2, you're in for some remarkable, challenging times, but also remarkable times. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. Okay, pile number 3, let's see what we have for you. Certainly pile 1 or 2 were quite interesting. We have secrecy. We have co-create in reverse. And we have Arcturian light codes. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go one by one. So I'm first drawn to the 4, double 4, which when you add 2 4s, you get an 8. So it's a very powerful number. It's the strength in tarot. But 2, the formation of 2 number 4s to me signifies realization of one's goals through implementation of new ideas and new foundations. So pile number 3, you are in the process of ripping out your old weak foundation in favor of a new stronger foundation. Okay? And as a result of ripping out the old foundation, you will come across some things that were not visible to you before. Perhaps some quote-unquote secrets you have kept deep inside. And these secrets have a very revealing quality to them. They tell you who they are and who you are to be. Okay, that's interesting. I'm asking for them to give me a little bit more about who you are to be, what your purpose is. Okay. So many of you, pile number 3, if you're listening to this, if this resonates, you are likely to go through a process where you are ripping out your old foundation in favor of a new foundation. And as a result of cleaning up, you are discovering or rediscovering something about yourself that has the potential to profoundly change your life going forward. It's as if you are coming across some forgotten, what's the word I want to use? Not mystery, yes, but it's like, not secret, it's like treasure. It's like through self-discovery, you come upon a certain treasure. And this treasure can be startling in a moment when you see it. I'm asking, why is it startling? And what I heard was, because it's big. You are here to play big, not small. So chances are you have been suffering from the idea of smallness. Okay? And as you approach, I want to say the new age of Aquarius, okay? You are realizing that the smallness that you have been holding onto as your idea of you has been the very thing that has been limiting your entire life's experience. All with just one understanding: that you are not enough or that you are small. And you are in the process of realizing and rediscovering that you cannot possibly be small, or not enough for that matter. It cannot exist. I mean, yes, it can exist in your mind if you choose to believe it, but it's not real. And I don't know how this is going to come to you guys, if it's going to be through some ceremonies, shamanic retreats. You're going from invalidating yourself to validating yourself. Like it's a complete switch 180. You're moving from making no sense to yourself to realizing how everything makes so much sense. It's like a massive awakening, pile number 3. That is not a small thing. It's powerful, it's magnificent, and it's massive in magnitude. So out of all the 3 piles, pile number 3, you're getting hit with some massive realizations over the next little while. So I don't know if it's going to be September, October only, maybe until the rest of the year, but because this feels like such a big energy, I have a difficulty believing that it's just going to be confound in just six weeks. I feel like this is going to go on for a while, pile number 3. Nonetheless, you're stepping into some big energy. Now, here's the thing. If you are used to feeling small, stepping into your bigness, that's a challenge. I guarantee you it's going to be a challenge because you're not used to it. You're not used to showing up in all your glory. You're used to, showing up small, whatever that means. And I'm not talking about ego. This is way beyond ego. Ego is part of it, but it's way beyond ego. This is not an egoic trip. I repeat, this is not an egoic trip. If anything, you are releasing the limitations the ego has on you. You are releasing the limitations the ego has on you, because ego is limited. Ego is limited, and that's beautiful. It's okay, but it's limited. So you are moving to creating life from a completely different space, from a massively, massively different space. And just by how it feels, like you're coming from this very restricted energy to this openness, it's like, it's, I want to say it's monumental. I have no idea how each and every one of you are going to experience this or what package it arrives in your life. But let me tell you, if you're listening to Pile 3, over the next little while, you can expect big things to transpire in your life. Here's the thing. They're not going to happen to you. They're going to happen as a result of you digging deeper. As a result of you looking at yourself. Co-creation in reverse. So what this is telling me, we co-create with the universe all the time. We're not just single units doing our own thing. We think we do, but that's not how it works. When this appears to me in reverse position, let's say, it's telling me that you are under the illusion or delusion that you have no help and you can't depend on anything or the universe or anybody, and it's just you. You're alone. Now, if you believe that, that's tragic. Because if you believe that, then that is the experience you're going to have. Okay? You cannot not co-create with the universe because you're part of universe. Universe is part of you. You are in a co-creation process. If you believe that you are just the one creating everything and there is nothing or no one helping you, some other energies, then you're under the illusion of separateness. You're not a separate being. You are experiencing individuality under the idea of separation as a human, but energetically speaking, you're more than a human. You have a physical body that's dense, that's solid, but there's more to you than that. You don't just end, with the edges of your body. Your energy is infinite. You just don't see it that way. Okay. Pile number 3. You are realizing that you are part of the infinite. It goes with the first message. You are realizing that you are part of the infinite. And that, for some of you, smashes your ego. It's like, cuts your ego in half. These type of realizations are often so big, they have a profound effect on the human ego that is, for the egoic structure that's rooted in separation. Okay? Pile number 3, I don't know. I have no idea what you're going to be going through or what kind of things you're going to get yourself into, but you're going to have some powerful experiences. Wow, that's big. I'm at a loss for word here. Give me 1 second. You are realizing that life is for the taking and for the giving, but you're not the only one taking or giving, whatever that means. I see the idea of a turtle, which to me speaks to safety and security. And I see this image of a turtle walking out of a cage, essentially. this turtle is walking out of a cage. Metaphorically speaking, this is what the message is. Your own understanding of yourself changes to the point where you are realizing, you have lived in a cage. And by having this realization, you are releasing yourself from this cage. As a result of releasing yourself from this cage, you fundamentally feel within yourself like you are at home. When you think of the idea of home, we often think of safety. So your entire structure in terms of safety and security, pile number 3, is getting blown out of the water, if that's the right saying. There's such a fundamental shift for pile number 3. I don't even know how to contain that in a message. It's very difficult for me to contain it in a message. All I want to say is, here's the universe that's giving you a gift. Here. It's so big, you might go, oh, that's really big. That's the best way I can describe it. This is what I hear. Mark my words. The way you see yourself today and the way you see yourself sometime from now, you're going to look at yourself and you're going to realize, back then, I didn't know who I was. I thought I was somebody. Thought. But now I'm realizing that what I thought was not me. That was not me all along. I just didn't know it because I thought I was this or that. And that allows you to detach from your old limiting self, that part of your identity. Again, I'm actually very excited for you, pile number 3, because this is like, this anticipation is unreal. Wow. Okay. Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Seriously? Maybe you have a connection to celestial beings. Chances are you do. If you're on this path as I'm seeing it, you'll be experiencing a whole bunch of different connections if you haven't already. And if you have, those connections were going to be way amplified. I hear the word star child. You may connect with the notion of being a star child, okay? Star being. You have a connection to other beings. Arcturians, of course, could be the ones. You are being illuminated by these beings. So I have a feeling like this could be a situation where beings appear to you in a vision or in a meditation or in a ceremony, and they're going to quote unquote bless you with certain knowledge. And this is big knowledge. Light codes, like I want to say the word celestial beings. Pile number 3, I would love for you to comment or write me an email, because this is beyond words for me. I'm having a hard time articulating this energy. It's just so massively powerful. Evolutionary light codes. You are being downloaded with information on how to evolve, how to help humanity evolve. Now, if you are being downloaded with this information, then that means that you are here to share. So, if you feel small, if you feel inadequate, and you are holding on to that illusion, are you going to share? No, you're going to hold back. So, in order for you to share this extraordinary experience and this extraordinary information, you have to let go of your smallness. Are you afraid that people are going to judge you? Yes, they will. They'll judge you, absolutely, 100%. Rise above it. Rise above their judgments. Realize that their judgments are coming from their own restrictive thinking and believing. It has nothing to do with you. But I guarantee you there will be those who will not only not judge you, but will feel blessed I want to say by your presence, although that feels almost egoic, but they will be blessed by the information you have to give them, because that information has a very freeing quality. Okay? I hear Arcturian beings want to heal you. They want to heal you, except I'm going to rephrase. Their desire is to help humanity heal, but they cannot step in and heal and put their agenda forth, because that's violating the law of free will. We have to be willing to ask for help. Okay? Maybe you have connection to star beings, and maybe it's time you ask them for help. Hey, star beings, I don't know who you are. If you are on the highest path and it's aligning with my highest path, help me realize my potential. Help me heal. Recalling power. What did I say? Literally, I should say message. You are in the process of realizing who you are. What else can I say? I've been talking for 16 minutes, but it's pretty much the same message. Pile number 3, I want to say, holy crap, this is big. And I love it for you, because it feels like it's just, all in my heart. It feels magnificent. It just radiates. It's like radiating higher octave. I just absolutely love it. So I'm just going to leave it at that with pile number 3, because I have no words to express what I'm feeling. I usually I'm not short of words, or speaking becomes difficult right now for me. So I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to hopefully let that energy show through just projecting it. And maybe you can feel it. It's a very transformative quality. Very powerful, but very transformative quality. It's like I want to say, pile number 3, consider this your birthday. Consider this a day or a time where you are being reborn. Wow, that is not small. But that's what I have for you, pile number 3. Don't forget all the 2023 Zodiac signs at 75% off. The link is down below. I would love for you to comment let me know how this energy feels for you. And let's all decide collectively to release our fears and move into our hearts, so that we can create a better future for our children, for our families, for our friends, for ourselves, for our animals, for our planet. Can we do that? Amen. Much love to you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Remember to click the notification bell to get notifications when I upload new content. Thank you. See you soon.